Okay, we are recording. Brilliant. So, welcome. We are now in the second session of our multi-agency child exploitation programme of learning, and happy Child Exploitation Awareness Day. The 18th of March is our National Awareness Day for Child Exploitation. As a partnership, we've been greedy and we've given ourselves a whole week to raise awareness of child exploitation. And we've had an amazing partner input in terms of the delivery of some of these learning sessions. So we've got the second session today, which is going to be delivered by Heidi Lewis from North Yorkshire Police, who's going to be looking at county lines and early intervention and prevention in schools. Just before I hand over to Heidi, as I've already mentioned, we've got Child Exploitation Awareness Day today. So the ask from you guys as partners is to get involved however you can, really. And it's all about sharing and promoting the word around child exploitation today and every day. But just some ideas of ways that you can get involved. We've got lots of stuff on our partnership social media account. So we'll be posting stuff throughout the week on Instagram, X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So again, if you follow us, you can just share those posts. You don't have to kind of write your own things. You can share them. And please kind of promote with your wider teams any of the work that we're doing. Share the learning sessions because they really are beneficial this week. Keep promoting Be Aware. We know that's our hub in North Yorkshire. It's got all the resources that you need, and we've got lots of posters and things that you can access in terms of putting things up in community spaces. And we've got email banners and things that you can access as well. Just a quick slide with some of our kind of social media posts. Again, we've got all those on the website, but they're there and they're for you. You can just pick them up and share them as you see fit. And a reminder, you'll all be aware of the programme of learning now. This is what we've got on for the rest of the week. So get yourselves booked on to some of the sessions later on in the week, because they really do promise to be some amazing sessions. We had a super session earlier on from a lady who shared her experiences of gang culture and kind of her experiences of exploitation, which was incredibly powerful, which we will try and get a recording. So I will try and sort of log everything from this week together and put it on our YouTube channel. And you can follow us on YouTube there at NYSCP. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to Heidi.
Thank
Heidi,
you,
if you want to share.
I will do.
Over to you.
Let's hope it works. Right. All right. Has that come up, Kat?
That's perfect, Heidi. Thank you.
Yeah, super. Right. Before I go into the sort of the partnership work that we've been doing with author Christina Gabbitas around county lines and early intervention prevention in schools, I thought I'd just give everybody an insight into how it all came about. So I'm hoping that most of you will be aware of our Operation Divan process that North Yorkshire Police have in place. Op Divan was launched back in 2018 now, so coming on nearly 6 years ago, as part of the Vulnerability and Violent Crime Programme, which was funded by the College of Policing. And the aim for North Yorkshire Police was one of the pilot forces alongside the Met, and the aim was to reduce the number of young people carrying weapons by raising awareness of the consequences of weapons carrying, and for the police to work with partners to support those under the age of 18 who were identified at being at risk of carrying weapons to prevent further escalation. And those children and young people that are referred into the Op Divan process, a lot of them are carrying weapons, knives, or thinking about carrying weapons and knives. And those thought processes are associated with county lines, child exploitation, but also bullying. So it's just a reminder to people that has been in place since 2018, and we've been identifying young people since then who are suitable for Op Divan through intelligence-based work, but also through incident reporting. And as the years have gone on, we as a team, so the school liaison team lead on Op Divan, and we felt that we needed something that we could put in place that was suitable education around carrying weapons and knives, but also around the factors that were influencing that, and most importantly, county lines. So we started a collaboration with Christina Gabbitas back in 2020, 21. And Christina, a couple of years previously, had been commissioned by the Humberside Police and their OPFCC for some initial research work and engagement to create her first animation, which is called No More Knives and County Lines. And she did a bit of work with their PCSOs and the neighbourhood policing teams as part of her initial funding. She was happy because she lives in Selby, so that's really fortunate for us in North Yorkshire. And because she lived so closely, we did a few trial sessions in the primary schools in Selby, and it was really well received. So on the back of that, we then put in a funding request to the OPFCC and got a year's worth of funding for Christina to go into primary schools across the county to deliver the story to year 5 and 6. Very conscious of the fact that we needed to make sure that this was something that we could use going forward and put some resilience into that engagement with our schools. So what Christina has done is actually made those resources available for free on her website, so any school can access it. But we also in North Yorkshire Police, as a community engagement offer, our local PCSOs on MPT will go and deliver that to years 5 and 6, supported by the school liaison team as well. So what just as a so the story itself, the first one that Christina wrote, it's about a group of friends who were groomed and lured into county lines. And Jamie, one of the characters, he also regrets picking up a knife for protection at the end of it. So I'm going to play just a minute-long YouTube clip, which sort of gives you an idea of the style of delivery, which has really struck a chord with the children and young people that we've shown it to. Christina did a lot of collaboration with lived experience. So the guy that does the rapping on the film, on the animation itself, he used to be a gang member, and then the voices of the young people in the animation are all children that have been in the county lines arena themselves. So if you bear with me, I'm hoping that this will work this time.
Gang got the youth selling class A drugs. Gang young thugs recruit the youngers with money and fake hooks. They imitate and operate the game of manipulation. Subject to violence, use force and exploitation. Especially these pad is used for cocooning, treat them bad cause half the time they don't know what they're doing. Radicalized online, not direct content to recruit. Glamorizing influencers, brainwashing all the youth through Snapchat, Instagram and channels like YouTube. Fueled by constant feed, facts a few, slaps and some abuse. Present gang life is appealing to youngers in the area. Parents oblivious to the groom is even more scary. Root problem back in the home like attention shower with gifts and splits in the groom like attraction. Post vids of kids online in the trappers with no trainers in a band of selling photos go put themselves in danger. The guns and weapons stacked up in cars high, sucking new recruits through glamorizing lifestyle. Smart from trap.
So I'll just close that down. So that gives you a flavour of what the animation entails. The objective with that one is primary school, years 5 and 6, and it really provides them with an understanding of those concepts of grooming, county lines, drugs, and the risks of carrying knives and weapons. What Christina has done in her resources, she's got a really nice question set that goes alongside it, but also for the kids, a true or false quiz about carrying knives and weapons, but also to sort of embed that learning around those keywords of grooming, county lines, and gangs. So that has been, so the schools where we've delivered this have said that it really hits the mark. It's really quite impactful. And this one here, I'm hoping that this will work. The New Waltham Academy is a school in the Humberside area, but I just thought that the feedback that these year 6s have given is really quite good in showing what learning that they get from the animation itself.
Now I have more knowledge about how it's not just adults that have to keep a lookout for drugs, but it's children as well, and how it's not just in faraway places like London or Exeter, but can happen in places like New Oldham and Humberston just the same.
And what did you learn from it?
That if you go around using knives, you can get arrested for it, and it's really bad to do it because it can harm other people even if you don't mean to do it.
I realised how quickly things can escalate, and that even if you didn't know much about it and originally you didn't have anything to do with it, you will still get in trouble.
What was the most interesting bit about the animated video, do you think?
If you use knives, not only you can harm others, but you can also harm yourself.
I feel that a lot of children and young people like myself wouldn't actually understand drugs if it wasn't for the animated video, for the comic strips. So I do have to say that it's a great way of just explaining how drug crime will work, not just an adult's level, but a child's level as well.
What would you do then if somebody come up to you and offered you a phone or £500 like you saw in that video?
You'd go up to a trusted adult and tell them, and they would sort it out with like the police and stuff like that.
So that's just a little bit of a snapshot of the feedback that we've had from primary school kids. We say year 5, 6 in primary, year 5 and 6 in primary school. We do still have some hesitation within North Yorkshire, particularly from our more rural schools that feel it's not appropriate for that age group. We tend to disagree with that, but need to respect that decision that school has made. However, we'll keep trying. So one other thing that Christina does with them, to sort of, because she is an author and a lot of her work is also linked to literacy in schools, and she does go into schools and do a full literacy day, secondary and primary, based on her animations. She'll also create a poem with them to sort of embed that learning even further. And I'll just see if this one will play for you from Kirksmeaton Primary.
Two, three.
A group of friends are hanging out in the park. A suspicious-looking male appeared from the dark. He asked them if they had any leave to help perform his criminal deed. They all admired his golden watch and all thought it was top-notch. He involved them in the county line, little did they know it was a serious crime. They travelled by taxi and by train to deliver all the harmful cocaine. Jamie was scared, so he picked up a knife, thinking it may protect his life. We at Kirksmeaton say stay away from life of crime. It's certainly not worth the prison time.
So that just gives you a flavour of the other work that Christina can do with the children, should anyone decide to have her come into school. So on the back of so we were at the time, we also delivered the No More Knives and County Lines first animation into a number of secondary schools across North Yorkshire. And the feedback that we got was that those kids, the older kids, wanted to know what happened next. What was the further consequences of those actions of those young people? So we put a further bid into the OPFCC's Community Safety Services Fund, and we're able to get some funding for Christina to look at that further work. So the sequel, and which was called Trapped in County Lines. And again, Christina did a wide range of consultation to get the content of the story right. So various individuals within North Yorkshire Police. She went back to Humberside Police. She did work with our police cadets in York, Harrogate and Scarborough. The North Yorkshire Youth Commission contributed, and then she's also done a lot of work with the Warren Youth Charity in Hull. And then she went to, again, has used young and up and coming artists to do the animations for her, and I've spoken to a wide range of parents as well of their lived experiences. So the second animation, that then takes the kids sort of further into the intricacies of county lines and what they can be exposed to, particularly cuckooing and debt bondage, which weren't covered within the first story. The Trapped in County Lines is also available on Christina's website for any through YouTube to view and to use in schools, along with the resources, which, like the primary school, has a very similar format, just to encourage that debate and that discussion around the various different topics. When we first watched the animation, it's about 20 minutes long. And we did wonder whether it was too long. So the first year group that we showed it to was the Year 7s in York High. And I was stood at the back with the headmaster, and I said, you know, I told him about my concerns, whether it may be too long for them, and maybe too confusing, because it does cover a lot of different topics within the story itself. And we were absolutely amazed that they were as quiet as mice in that. So it was a whole year group at York High, the Year 7s. And at the end of it, the headmaster said to me, says they'll have absolutely no issue whatsoever to understand and follow that story, because it's exactly at their level, which was great to hear, and Christina was absolutely delighted about. So this clip here is from a girl called Anna at Millthorpe School in York only last week. So Millthorpe paid for Christina to go in and do a full literacy day around Trapped in County Lines, and this is the feedback that Anna gave afterwards. Oh.
So Anna, what did you think about what you've seen today?
I thought it was very interesting, and it taught me a lot about things I didn't know about before. The story, it flowed very nicely, and it definitely made you feel connected to the characters, which made it a lot more impactful, because it shows you that this is happening to real people, and it's not just something that happens to other people, but it could happen to you too.
So you think the message was good to give, yeah?
Definitely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So Anna, what did you think about what you've seen today?
Sorry. So, and then we, I'm just going to play you this clip as well from one of the teachers. We delivered it at Barlby as part of October's Crime County Lines Intensification Week. And I think what this teacher has to say around the concept of cuckooing is really, really quite good.
So, Mr. McNaught, what did you think of what you've seen today?
I thought it was really, really interesting. It was excellent how it took such complex themes and it condensed it down into a really short but very, very realistic and quite shocking snippet. And I really like the fact that it took that cuckooing element, which you do teach the students in PSHE, but which they often can't get their head around. They can't think, well, how could somebody come into my house and like take it over? It doesn't make any sense. But it was so believable and so realistic in that video that I think a lot of the students would be really shocked to see how easily that could actually happen.
Yeah. So you think it was impactful and age appropriate?
Oh, it was definitely age appropriate, and it was definitely had impact. The students were talking about it in the corridors, and they've asked me questions about it since. And as a former safeguarding lead, it's really important to have these sort of resources, because not very much exists, especially for cuckooing. It's usually things that teachers put together, or the PSHE Association, and to have that wider range of resources to point students to is really, really valuable.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then I've just got a snippet from some students. I believe these were the year 9 or 10s at Rossett, which it's just the feedback that the lads have given us on the animation.
Okay, guys, so what did you think of what you've seen today?
I thought it was very powerful and very informative about what can happen in the real world. Jacob?
I thought it should show you that you should never get involved in any crime. Aaron?
No, it's really good, isn't it? It's good story, good message.
Yeah, okay. You take a lot from it?
Yeah, I thought Mo was like my favourite character because like at the end he gave his life to protect someone else and he was always there for his friends.
Yeah, just goes to show what can happen. You know, I mean, he said he had no intention of you know, stabbing Mo, did he?
He just wanted to work at like his pizza restaurant and that, but he got dragged in from his uncle. But...
Yeah, he got groomed by him, didn't he? Yeah. Anyone else?
Agree with Mo.
Yeah, Uncle Tony, man.
Listen, you like Uncle Tony. Uncle Tony's horrible.
He wasn't a good hard guy. He wasn't a good character.
He felt real. He had like true motivations, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so you think it was impactful then, as the story, how it was put together?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So that I think that just gives you a flavour of what. I'll stop sharing at that cat, if that's all right, and open it up for any questions that anybody's got, just about how we can deliver it, and what the offer is.
Has anyone got any questions for Heidi, just based on the sessions, what they include, how you would go about contacting Heidi or getting Christina in?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask from, because I work with schools around school improvement. So how would I signpost them to who would be contacted?
So yeah, it's twofold, Joanna. So you can contact directly through me, and then depending on where those schools are, I can put my local officer, PC or PCSO, in touch with the school to like offer them the we do it assembly style. We could also do it small group style if you've got certain concerns around individual kids. And then Christina, she would hers, for her to come in and do a full literacy day is then come at a cost to the school. But when she comes in for a full day, every year group is captured. Whereas my team, it would take us a little bit longer because we have to fit it in around everything else. But what we're hoping that what the animations will do is, and we have seen some of that already, is just to get those children, young people thinking, and if they've been exposed to those risks, to actually come forward and speak to somebody and seek that help at the earliest opportunity. We have already seen that. And we just want to sort of spread the word a little bit wider, just to encourage more of that from our young people.
That's great, thank you.
Heidi, can I ask a question?
Go on, of course you can.
Just in relation to when you're having conversations with young people across North Yorkshire, are you picking up any particular themes or trends? Because obviously Christina's story is quite embroiled in county lines and criminal exploitation.
Yeah.
But when you've got young people who are clearly really engaged in what's going on and talking about maybe experiences or things that they've heard, are you picking up any themes or trends? Are you hearing more around kind of the online context of exploitation, or just wondered if there was anything you wanted to share?
From an online perspective, I would say that the vast majority of our work is, and this will come as to no surprise to all of those from schools on the call, is the sharing of youth-produced sexual imagery, CAT. That is still the bulk of our work, unfortunately. With that does come an exploitation element online, but it is sort of the smaller number of incidents within that online world. It is there, and we do work with young people around that, but it's still that risk-taking behaviour around taking images, sharing them, and the fallout of that's the majority that we see across schools, definitely.
Thank you. We've got a session later on in the week where we've got the Children's Society doing a session on sexually coerced extortion, so that links to you.
Oh, that's an excellent. Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
You'll often hear it kind of talked about in the press or in some documents about it being called sextortion, which is just not quite the most correct terminology. Again, it just doesn't have that inclination about the young person being coerced and exploited. So the Children's Society are pushing to use sexually coerced extortion. But yeah, we've got a session later on in the week where you can learn a bit more about that.
That's great. Yeah, so in relation to that, we actually did a piece of work with the Uniformed Services course at Harrogate College around, and I'm going to call it sextortion now, around sextortion, for them to come up with a resource for us to use. So rather than us create our own as a team, we went to the college and they were really great. I think there was a group of about 16 of them. And they went away. They had 6 weeks to research it, put it all together, and then they presented it to myself and Martin Powell, who's a PCSO who works for me over in Harrogate. And there was some really good pieces of work that came from those students. And what we're currently doing is putting it together as a package, as a resource for my team to use. But there is currently a problem-solving plan in place for the sextortion element being quite a big concern with our Army cadets.
Okay.
And we're going to share it with them to use as in their resource bank, in their learning as well. So there is some work ongoing in relation to that in the background, but it's definitely a worrying trend. I would say 17 to 19-year-olds, Kat, at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Has anyone else got any questions for Heidi while we've got her available and sharing her knowledge? Okay, thank you. Right, was there anything else that you wanted to share, Heidi?
No, that's it. That's fine. I mean, I don't know whether I need to put my email in the chat or not, but please, anyone who has any questions or wants further links or putting into contact with anyone, if they can just email me, and I'm more than happy to facilitate that. Not a problem at all.
Lovely. Thank you. So I've just presented, I know it's on PowerPoint view, but I just wanted to share with you that programme of learning again for the rest of the week. So coming up tomorrow, we've got our specialist North Yorkshire Police Missing and Exploitation team, and Gemma, who is our Mace Level 2 chair. They're doing a specific session all around some really clear examples around what disruption actually looks like in North Yorkshire and how we all have a role as partners in doing that. It's not just a police role. So that'll be an amazing session. And then later on in the day, we've got Adam again. So if you are looking for kind of a session where you hear a little bit more around lived experiences, Adam is shares his story, which he's written as a programme called The Long Game. I don't know if any of you had the chance to hear Adam speak, but he is brilliant and will share his experiences of what life has been like for him. Go on, Heidi. Oh.
Yeah, just in relation to Adam's work, we've actually got a full calendar of him going into schools and PRUs across North Yorkshire now, Kat.
Yeah,
which I'll share with you just so that you've got it, just if somebody asks. But it is absolutely brilliant. It's really good. And what we've done is in some areas is we've had Christina go in with Trapped in County Lines, and then Adam's gone in on the back of that and delivered his lived experience. So the children and young people have had the sort of that double education, so to speak, in relation to it, and it's worked really well.
Yeah, we're in a really strong position in North Yorkshire where we do have this kind of menu of interventions that we can offer to partners in terms of different needs and things like that. So again, if you want to learn more about The Long Game, join us tomorrow. And then at the end of the day, we've got partners from Iverson Trust, who you will have perhaps known as PACE. They were renamed sort of at the back end of last year, talking about parental lived experiences of exploitation. You've got me on Wednesday. I'm going to be launching our new multi-agency child exploitation strategy. So that is live on the website as of today. So if you want to have a look at it, a little bit of bedtime reading by all means. But I will talk you through it as a masterclass on Wednesday lunchtime. And then later on the Wednesday, we've got that session on online sexually coerced extortion that I've already mentioned. Thursday, we've got our Bernardo service, who are our ICTIG service. So that's our Independent Child Trafficking Guardianship Service, and they offer support for young people who have been victims of modern slavery and human trafficking. And then we've got a session by our Your Sexual Health partners to look at sexual exploitation and the role that sexual health support can have in that as well. And then finally, on the Friday, we've got a really interesting session from the Children's Society on financial exploitation. This is a very emerging form of exploitation, and a really key one. It's just been brought up as a specific form of exploitation in the new Working Together to Safeguard Children document that came out at the back end of 2023. So definitely one to be aware of, and really overlaps quite nicely with the world of online exploitation as well. So lots to be catching up on over the week. We've already shared with you about getting involved, but again, I've just put the link on for the website there, and if you want to scan the QR, that will take you to all of our information, all the pages that you will need. But that, I think, will wrap us up for the session. If there's anything else from Heidi. Go on. Oh, Jordan, have you got your hand up?
Oh yeah, it's Jordan from Youth Justice. My mic couldn't go on quick enough earlier. It was just for Heidi. Obviously, I'm working with the older ones in Youth Justice. I was just wondering if there's any trends coming through in maybe in the younger year 5 to year 7 with trends with, I'm going to say it, the dreaded Snapchat. Obviously, a lot of our perps are dealing on there. Is there anything coming up trendy with the children where they're getting these symbols where they're not really recognising what it is, whereas we would? Certain symbols in terms of dealing, things like that, where they're not really understanding it, because obviously we know a lot of our young people unfortunately are brandishing weapons all over Snapchat, drugs, and whether that's something that you've seen starting to become quite a trend.
Yeah, so we have actually recently done quite a few Optivan interventions in relation to that, Jordan. With the weapons being brandished on Snapchat, and then when we've gone and spoken to parents and the children, obviously the weapons aren't there anymore, but we can still do that education around it. What I would just underline again is that if you hear anything when you are speaking with young people, that you submit it as intelligence to us. In relation to younger children identifying it, it's all part of that wider internet safety work, which we are aware of. It's just adding another element to it, and yeah, be interested to hear from partners. And I know we have this conversation when we speak to teachers, safeguarding leads, when we go into primary schools around internet safety. There is so much that we need to cover with them that we often have to prioritise, and it's that. So it does get covered, but probably not as intensive as we like to, Jordan, unfortunately. I don't know whether that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does. It was just interesting to see if that was a trend with the younger people. Obviously, we're working with the young offenders a little bit older, but it was just interesting if that's a trend that's coming through from the younger age. Obviously, we're working quite closely on Optivan.
Yeah, so I do all of the Optivan reviews every month to make sure that none have got missed. And I would say that for the last 6 months, I would say that at least 1 or 2 every month are Snapchat, TikTok based interventions that we're doing. Yeah. I think they sometimes think it's still a safe space for them to do it and they won't get caught. Possibly not the case.
No, mine certainly. I don't get. If I had £1 for every time I was asked how long the phone's going to be till they get it back, I probably wouldn't need to work.
Absolutely.
Okay, if there's no other questions from anybody, I'm going to stop the recording, but I just want to say a massive thank you to Heidi. It's a big ask asking partners to come and deliver in front of a group of people and give up their time, so we are hugely appreciative of all the work that partners have put in this week. But yes, thank you very much, Heidi. We'll stick around for another few minutes if anyone wants to ask any questions with the recording stopping. But yes, thank you very much.